think like Crook never had that momentum. You know what I'm saying? He never had that behind him. I think the Slaughterhouse era, you know what I'm saying, propelled him to a level that he probably wasn't at before, but it never got him to the level where he could have probably become the star he's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that he should have focused more on a craft during the time that the Slaughterhouse kind of like got shelled and put out more projects? Or did he? Because I don't feel like he did, and maybe it's just because I stopped paying attention because we all got into other shit as far as music and doing other things.
I think he did, but I don't think he did it at the level he should have. I think that the level he should have done it should have been at the same level that Joe Budden got into his podcast, and the same level that Royce got into his prime and his when he did the Book of Ryan. It's like Royce kind of hunkered down and kind of focused his energy in specific places, whereas Crook was doing with Crook's Corner podcast. He spent a whole lot of time on social media engaging his fans and talking to the people. He put out some projects. He did a couple projects with Joel, but none of that shit really stuck like it should have. I don't know none of the logistics as to what caused a lot of the momentum shift.
Yeah, so that's the other part I wanted to ask about it, because now that I think about it, he did have two of those projects was about bucking against the system, right? But you never saw a real good push for those albums. It was just like, hey, my project is out, fuck with it.
And I think what it is, man, is like he might have seen the potential for a new beginning going to Shady Records because he was so close to being in the rooms that he always wanted to be back in. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, let's be real, man. All right, we're gonna keep it a beam. Like Joe was the star of Slaughterhouse. He was the biggest star of the group. Not to say he was the biggest star, period, but the biggest star of the group. He's the one that had the Grammy nominated single and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Royce would be number 2 behind that in terms of popularity. People knew who Royce the 5'9" was. They knew Bad Meets Evil, blah, blah, blah. And that's strictly off of his affiliation with Eminem and Dr. Dre and stuff like that. And then you go, it's a two-way tie between Joel Ortiz and Crook. And Joel was at least signed to Aftermath for a little bit before he got dropped. You know what I'm saying? Because he was on the label when Rakim was on the label. You know what I'm saying? And Dre was really trying to work with him and stuff like that, but certain stuff didn't pan out because, you know, Dre is very picky like that. But Crook had his Death Row era moments when that shit kind of came down to whatever it came down to. I don't know what was going on. I know he had his XXL cover shit when he was part of the freshman class, but I don't know like what that looked like for him commercially. I don't know what that looked like for him career-wise until Slaughterhouse, bro. You see what I'm saying? And he's a top tier lyricist. He's probably elite. He's an alien, but that don't mean shit in the grand scheme of the business of music. You know what I'm saying? Especially nowadays, because that's not even a requirement to become, you know what I'm saying, a financially stable star. Because guess what? It's kind of like too little too late for rappers like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like you either hit your stride when it's time and become that magnet for that fan base, or you kind of just be scraping and grasping at the rope as it's slipping away.
So can we then say that it was the way that it was being packaged?
Most likely so. I don't even think it was the packaging though, bro. I think it's just the product in general. Because you think about like when even with Slaughterhouse, they were like an underground favorite. They weren't like a mainstream.
They were, but that's what I'm saying. So
when they went to
no one expected that first album to gain as much success as it did, but I did because I was like, yo, these are four of some of the dopest guys out, right? But what I was expecting on the second album was for them to have free reign at Shady Records to do whatever it is they're gonna do. Hey, you guys want to come over here and make a record? Cool, we'll give you guys a budget, do all that, yada yada yada. Come to find out, there's all this pop bullshit that I really didn't want to hear.
I think that's what most of the fans expected. I think most of the fans had this expectation that Shady Records was just gonna let Slaughterhouse do Slaughterhouse.
That's what I expected.
But that's obviously not what was in the contract and what was negotiated, and it's kind of what drove Joe away from the situation. Okay.
I mean, but so you think like I think.
Mm-hmm.
How did y'all not go in there, hear this album, and go, yeah, this take that out, take that out, and take that out?
Because I think they probably did go through that process, but like when you sign a deal, you don't necessarily own
It's very true.
the product.
Very true.
And the person that's financing it owns the product.
And because he wants his immediate return off of it, he's probably like, yo, this
It's
is
Paul Rosenberg and Marshall and whoever else is part of that deal. You know what I'm saying? Like Shady Records is a company, it's a conglomerate. So it's like there's his brand, but there are so many people that's actually invested in making sure that those products actually become whatever they're going to become for the how many it might be a 2-album deal. You know what I'm saying? A single album deal, a 4-album deal, whatever that deal looked like. The first one has to at least chart to kind of get a return on that investment.
It does, but I think doing those type of songs wasn't made for artists like that. Like these are underground independent artists. You gotta let them come in with that the hammer dance. You gotta let them do that type of shit, man, because that's what's gonna keep people involved in what they're hearing. You gotta let them do songs with Pharaoh Months. You gotta do stuff like that that's gonna keep them in the hip hop lane. The Redmans of the world. We don't want to hear Skylar and all these other people yelling out in these songs talking about "Welcome to Our House." We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that.
Those are the songs that they wrote. They could have not wrote those songs.
Yeah, they could have. They could have just heard them like, "Yo, we're not gonna do that one."
You know what I'm saying? If the album would have turned out to be something that the label couldn't get behind or felt like they couldn't get behind, then they could have just proved them wrong. But they acquiesced. And that's really something that you kind of got to look at. And they might not even feel like they acquiesced. They might even feel like anything I'm saying now, they might have an opposite point of view on, might tell me I'm full of shit, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know what it looks like, you know what I'm saying? Not even necessarily in the music space, just your job, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might not even feel like wearing a fucking shirt and tie that day. You might just want to come in there in some sweats, but you know what the dress code is.
I know what the dress code is, absolutely. But
so,
yeah.
Records being, you know what I'm saying, the preeminent glamour label, because that's what all it is a fucking it's a label that appeases the contract that Eminem has with
Iovine.
Yeah. So that's his little thing. So coming over there to be able to meet those that criteria, it's probably written in the contract. Your first album outing is blah blah blah. And it needs to meet blah blah blah. And this is you know what I'm saying, we need 17 songs, 16 songs, you know what I'm saying?
Terrible. And
we need to have at least 3 songs that chart in these positions. We're trying to meet, you know what I'm saying, meet some benchmarks.
But this also proves that the business model doesn't work for all artists. It just doesn't.
So trying to monetize music and any type of art you're always gonna fall flat in some form or fashion, dude. That's why all of this shit is mechanized and contrived, bro.